Hey guys, and welcome to a new video based on crypto truth bombs. This is where I talk quite frankly about a coin or an element in the news and offer a bit of realism to the world and not to show the shit inside of this cryptocurrency industry that we seem to see all the time. I'm going to talk the good and the bad about the project in front of me, which is Tron. Tron, in my eyes, a bit of Marmite. It's loved and hated. It's one of those things. It's kind of like Electronium, which I covered the other day, and I got absolutely battered for it. But, you know, it's stuff on the internet. It's stuff that's happened. Mud sticks, and people remember the bad and obviously try and defend it. So please do subscribe to my channel. Hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs down, whatever. I don't give a shit. But the fundamentals of this is honesty. This should be your DD, your due diligence. This should be in your research. You should be finding what people are saying about coins, what people find on the coin, on other coins, sorry, and discover what you're looking to invest in potentially. So just be aware of that. And I'm not here to create FUD. I'm going to talk one way and the other. Okay, so Tron, what is it? It is decentralization of the web. It is a dApp. It is a wallet. It is a currency. It's freaking everything, to be honest with you. It is literally everything that you need in a project, but it has got a few little niggles and issues, which is probably due to its inexperience and its lack of establishment. It's only been around since 2017 technically. It's got one of the top leading founders in the actual industry itself, so Justin, so I'm going to talk about him in a minute. But the fundamentals of Tron is actually pretty strong. Give or take, you know, I'll openly admit I'm not an investor. I've never really been a fan because I've got my own ways of investing. But the fundamentals of this to make money in the long term is probably pretty strong. And I mean that because it's got everything it needs in a good project with an actual real use case. The problem lies with it is its past and its issues with certain things it's done, which, as I mentioned, mud sticks and crypto community people don't really like it. That's just one of the things. So in terms of what it is, if you want to draw a comparison to another project that you may be more familiar with, a bit like Ethereum. People can go onto their blockchain, people can use and harbor onto their blockchain, and they can use it. Simple as that. It also has a currency element to it and whole wallet and all kinds of pish basically. The problem you got with it, the supply is pretty freaking large, which inflates in the price, but it's got an actual real use case. It has a natural blockchain, people can actually use it. It's got it all fully on mainnet and fully operational, which is fantastic, and up to 2,000 transactions per second. So it's there. Also, you've got some decent partnerships coming in. With decent partnerships, I want to mention in more detail is BitTorrent is one of the main ones, but it's got a lot of other gaming apps on it. It's got a lot of, you know, bits and bobs on it. Not the greatest. Now that's where it falls down quite a lot due to its inexperience and how new it is. But in terms of, is Tron the real deal, or is it just another one of those cryptocurrencies that will eventually just fizzle out and fuck off? We don't know yet. That's one of the things, and that's why I want to talk about it. Ethereum has the proof. It has the working orders of time. It's shown and it's showing and it's showing. Tron hasn't yet. It's not fully developed itself. It's not gone into the world and went, right, you know, get out of the way, I'm in. They haven't done that yet, and the reason being because they've only been around for less than 2 years, which is, relatively speaking, a very, very short amount of time. So let's look at it. They've got their own blockchain. It's alright, it's okay, it does its thing, it works, it's never had any massive issues, but it is very, very low key. It's got its massive scale option to the top of 2,000 transactions per second, but currently it's pretty low. So that's good in a way. It's not going to get congested, it's not going to crash in any way, shape or form, and that will obviously grow as more projects harbor onto it, so that is a good thing. The one thing I don't like is TRC 10. Why that? Just make it something a bit less obvious than Ethereum. Remember, Tron was on the Ethereum blockchain at the start. So yeah, that's a bit weird. Another thing I want to talk about it is I'm not a fan of these comparisons. What is the point? You got blockchain here, Bitcoin network, the blockchain, whatever. It's a store of value, guys. It's not really harboring blockchain. It's not, you know, it's not the be all and end all. You're better off putting something else what is very similar to it, like of EOS, Neo, you know, examples of Ethereum, yes, but Bitcoin, it's just one of those things. Well, no one really cares about the Bitcoin blockchain in terms of its scalability and its proof of work. We all know it. We all know that it is a the way it's programmed, it's not going to be the best system and solution for payment system. It's just going to be there for a store of value and appear to be a transaction. Problem is, people always look at BTC. So, you know, for me, a bit of false advertising. BTC isn't technically a dApp. It isn't going to harbour a load of different projects on it. It's not going to be scaled up to the moon. It's not going to be the sort of currency that is going to change the world in terms of fast, quick, stupidly cheap payment solutions, because it's not. It's other coins will do that. So for me, transactions per second is a you know, a comparison. Why not put other projects out there that are doing the same? It makes more sense, doesn't it? So yeah, let's talk about other things. So what is happening right now, and the reason why the price is going up, BitTorrent. What this essentially does, I know this is an old article, but the actual tokens now, the BTT tokens, are coming out as an airdrop, and people are starting to accumulate Tron to get that. How that works is, BitTorrent, if you don't know, if you don't live under a shell, it's been decentralized for a long time. The way it's worked is where it's peer-to-peer file sharing, so you share it in your file, people can download it. The more peers that do it, or more clients, whatever, it will actually just download faster. Pretty cool. Unable to shut it down due to its decentralization, people, peer networks, computers, whatever, around the globe. The issue you've got with this is, it's fantastic in one way, but it's not in the other. Reason being, what's going to happen in the future with BitTorrent? Will it just become fully decentralized in cryptocurrency? We need to find that out. The white paper hasn't really launched yet. It's going to have a real use case though, which is fantastic. That's going to have the BTT shares. You buy them, you put them on, you can download the content faster. That's a decent use case with a decent sized community, so it'll probably do very well, and it'll probably do very well for the Tron network. So it is actually quite good, and it's good to see that they've got an established partnership, and Tron needed this. They needed something like this to go decentralized, and the reason being, Ethereum had and has all the power still, even though the price has tanked tremendously and a lot of coins have gone away from it, but they still have that pull-in power. If you're going to build an ICO or a new company, you're more likely going to go to the tried and trusted of Ethereum smart contracts compared to Tron. You just are, and that's just one of the things. So in terms of good, it's good. You know, it's a good project in terms of that. For me, I wouldn't invest just because I don't like certain things about it. But you know, do your own research and find out. But I'm going to talk about the negative now. So don't fucking stab me in the heart and take the piss. One of those things is, when you do research, you need to look at the downside and stuff. You've got to like take a look at the downside and think, well, have they corrected it? Have they changed it? And a lot of people really do dislike Tron. I don't dislike it to a point of, oh, I'm going to FUD it. I'm just going to bring the attention to it. Same with Electronium when I did that video. I just brought attention to stuff that's already out there. People don't look at that stuff, and they don't want to look at that. That's the sort of thing. So in terms of research, do it. But in terms of profits, I think Tron will be one of them coins that will do incredibly well in a surge, but it needs to prove itself after that surge. It's like Ethereum. It's had its massive ICO bang up to $1,400. It needs to now prove that again and get to that price again. If it doesn't, you know, that's where you got the issues between speculation and real-term value. So let's have a look at the bad things. So in terms of Tron, the first thing that spreads to mind, or springs to mind even, not spread, the white paper. It was pretty much copy and paste from IPFS and Filecoin. I've not got the full confirmation of this. I've seen elements in little crops of it, but it's still out there. People, if you are talking to an experienced person who remembers Tron releasing, it released in 2017 when you had Binance, when you were a Binance user, sorry, you got free coins essentially, like, ooh, Tron, cool, awesome, whatever. But that was one of the issues. As soon as that happened and people started to look into it, they noticed that there was a massive similarity, and it was a pretty awful white paper. For a company that is where it is now, it's changed and moved leaps and bounds to where that is, but that's still there. It's still in history. It's still there. So, oh my god, it's like when you look at Bitcoin and you look at the you know, Silk Road. It's always that thing that tarnishes its reputation a little bit. And now it's not fudding. It's just fact. It happened, and you can't discard it. And what they've done is they've went back to the drawing board. They've made a whole new white paper. They've changed the whole appearance and act, and they've made it better. So that's good. But people don't like, you know, investing in coins where they look for a shortcut. They look for the quick way, and that's kind of what they did. So at least they've corrected it, which is good. Another thing here is, hate to say Tron is a scam, they might have a point. Articles like this are all the time on, especially for altcoins, when you've got the guys who really love Ethereum, Bitcoin. It happens a lot, and you've got to take these sort of articles with a massive pinch of salt. And this tweet here is actually quite a good one. Now, he's a massive influencer, but yeah, it's one of those things, like, he has a point. And, you know, stuff like this, it sticks. And obviously we've got other coins there. Blockchain dentist, it's funny. But it's one of those things where you just got to take it and look. And when you start looking into these coins and you're starting to find these, this is where you start to look closer, and you've got to try and debunk it. And you've got to think, well, how many people think the same as him? How many people believe that this is, like, not so much a scam, but it's, you know, it's not the best project for the real use case in the future? And this was obviously 2008. This was what, 18, sorry. This was just over 11 months ago, or just under 11 months ago, sorry. So it's one of those things where you've got to really look into it and really try. And people, you know, people will laugh, people will look at it, people will get very defensive. I found that out on my electronic video. It's one of those things, it's just, you're going to defend the project. So look into stuff like this. There's stuff out there. I'm not trying to foot it, I'm just trying to draw attention to you. Is Tron going to be the next big thing? Or is it just gonna go up and flop? We don't know. We do not know. And then we've got the last one here. This is the more alarming one. This was out last year. It's a very popular Reddit, and it's one of those things where, yeah, potentially he has sold a lot of his Tron. And, you know, if it was a lockup, and if it was one of those things where he's entitled to do it, why not? But the problem is, people don't like it. People don't like it when founders or massive influencers within their coin, for example Justin Sun, and I'm going to talk about him at the end, will sell their coins or want to do whatever they want with their coins. So you've got to be very careful. And, you know, a lot of people don't like Litecoin now due to Charlie Lee selling his coins. It's his decision, doesn't matter. But what I'm trying to say is, it brings a wrong impression when this coin has not grown to its full potential. And a year ago it was not, well, actually a year ago it was it was a lot higher than what it is now. But in terms of what personally speaking, I know I'm mumbling my words here, I think founders should have a longer lockup. I think they should be entitled to a point of where they can cash out so much, but I also think there should be a point where the majority or a large amount of it should be released a lot later, not literally a year after ICO, because that's technically what it was. It was literally like a year after ICO. It's not the longest of times, is it? And you think it ran out the gate and it went up to what, 12-13 cents, huge compared to where it is now, and selling at that sort of time is crazy. So yeah, you've got to look into that. But there's whole documented evidence here that he sold his coins, and there's a lot of people commenting on this and really angry. So you've got to look at this and think, well, where does he lie? Where is he with it? And, you know, it's one of those things. Take it with a pinch of salt. Last one, Justin Sun. I want to talk about him anyway, so I'm on him. He's an inspirational guy. He's been in Forbes featured. He's all over the world. He's pretty, you know, pretty well known. But he's also one of the biggest pain in the arses ever. If you look on his Twitter, he is constantly pumping this coin. He's constantly announcing the announcement before the announcement. It's crazy. And he's also saying stuff to Ethereum, just a bit of, you know, like, oh, developers come over here because Ethereum's rubbish and Tron's amazing. In an unregulated space, that's kind of allowed. It's one of those things. But in the long-term future, and you think where cryptocurrency is going to go, if regulations come in where it's similar to the stock market in, say, 5-10 years' time, where influencers in their coins can't talk about them publicly on Twitter, look at Elon Musk, for example, the stuff that he says is pretty much criminal, like the way he says it and how he brings his community to back it. And all it was, this massive pump now is due to BitTorrent, and he has been vocal nearly every single day trying to push this coin up and up and up. It's just one of those things. It's going to happen. So just take, if you like a guy who's behind the hype and the hype marketing, fair play. If not, look at another option. Look at someone, because the proof's already in the pudding. He's already sold his bags. we've been to all-time lows for this coin in terms of this year or the end of 2018, which is a long way down where it was. So just be mindful if you see a founder pumping bags all the time. It's just an observation. So there's my, my honest truth about Tron. Personally, I think it's going to surge very, very well. I think it's going to do very, very well over the course of the next year or two. But it's got to prove itself longer term. It's got to prove itself. It's nowhere near the finished product, and I'm fully aware of that. The problem is you've got mud. You've got mud that's sticking to the side of this vehicle. You've got pledge white paper. You've got potentially the founder selling bags, and potentially could be selling more. You've also got people that really dislike it due to what it is and how the founder conducts himself. How, again, the plagiarism of documents that are vitally important on release. So those are things that really stick. And you've also got the mention of the stupidly inflated supply and the very much lack of partnerships in terms of what is actually on the DApp. If I look at the DApp right now, a lot of nothing's on it, apart from potentially BitTorrent going on it as one of the main ones. But stuff like this, it's pretty lousy, it's pretty shit. They're just like gaming stuff, and it's not a lot. Gambling isn't the greatest industry to get involved in. It's one of those things where it sucks people up, but you've also got little exchanges, you've got little games. For a start of a DApp, yeah, fair enough, they're trying, but they need to really look at getting some established stuff. So BitTorrent has helped, obviously. So there's my honest review. Obviously, hit the subscribe button if you like it. If you don't really give a shit. So have a good one.